Imagine learning in a single week what your classmates take a whole month to master. And the most curious thing? It's not about studying more, only changing how you study. This is not magic nor a coaching trick. It's applied neuroscience. And when you feel how much this accelerates your learning, it will seem like you're hacking the system, but you're not. You're just finally using it to your advantage. Tell me, have you ever felt that desperate frustration of studying for endless hours, reading the same paragraph 5 times, and still, when the exam comes, your mind turns completely blank? And even worse, you know that person who looks like they have a chip implanted in their brain, who studies less than half the time you do but always scores the best grades? So what's the difference between you and them? It's not intelligence, it's not dedication, and it's not photographic memory. It's something much simpler, something nobody taught you in school, but neuroscience discovered decades ago. The way you study matters infinitely more than how long you study. While most people are trapped in outdated methods, highlighting entire books until they look like abstract paintings, rereading the same chapter until exhaustion, or making notes that will never be reviewed, there are people already applying the scientific pillars of accelerated learning. If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you want to change your reality and finally get rid of that frustration of spending hours studying only to feel like the information is slipping through your mind like sand running through your fingers. But don't worry, you are not alone. And most importantly, you are not destined to live like this forever. There are techniques so effective that when applied correctly, they can make you learn so quickly it feels like you're doing something illegal. Sounds like a lie? I'll prove it's not. And more, I'll show you exactly how to do it. By the end of this video, you'll discover why the method you've been using for years sabotaged your results and how to fix it today. Think about it. If you study for 5 hours, but retain only 10% of the content, you effectively absorbed just 30 minutes of learning. But if you study for only 1 hour, using a strategy that helps you retain 70%, not only do you save 4 hours, you actually learn more. There's a lie that permeates the entire education system, the belief that the more time you spend studying, the more you learn. In truth, this is nothing but a trap. The trap of information consumption, where we confuse time invested with knowledge acquired. Think about your current study routine. You probably get home, grab your books, sit at the desk, and start reading, right? Page after page, highlighting entire sentences, filling notebooks with colorful notes that look like pieces of art. After 4 hours, you feel productive. After all, you studied a lot today. But when you stop and think about it, can you explain the key concepts out loud without looking at your notes? If the answer is no, you've fallen into the trap. The schools reinforce the myth that you need to study for 3 hours straight or reread the entire chapter 3 times. But here's the truth no one told you. Your brain is not a sponge that automatically absorbs knowledge. It's more like a muscle that needs specific training and rest to grow. So when you only read, highlight, or watch passively, your brain treats it as low-priority activity. It's like trying to fill a bucket full of holes. No matter how much water you pour in, it always leaks. Research by Karpicki and Roediger revealed something shocking. Students who simply reread the material performed almost identically to those who didn't study at all. The difference was practically zero. That means billions of hours of study worldwide are wasted daily. We confuse movement with progress, time spent with knowledge gained, and worst of all, we believe we are dedicated students simply because of the hours invested, when in reality, we are trapped in an illusion of productivity that keeps us stuck in a cycle of low performance. But there is another way, a way that forces your brain to treat information as maximum priority. And that leads us to the first pillar of accelerated learning.
There's a phenomenon in neuroscience called the testing effect, which literally breaks the rules of what we thought about learning. The Karpik and Roediger study tested this brilliantly. 2 groups studied the same material. One just reread it, while the other actively tested themselves. The results were devastating for traditional methods. After 1 week, the self-tested group remembered about 61% of the content, while the rereading group recalled only 40%, a huge difference. In other words, rereading produced weak results, while self-testing created strong retention. So remember this, every time you reread a chapter hoping it sticks in your memory, you're literally wasting your time. It's like trying to build muscle by just looking at weights instead of lifting them. Why does this matter? Because when you force yourself to recall information without looking at the material, you are strengthening the neural pathways in your brain. It's like walking through an overgrown trail for the first time. It's hard, confusing, full of obstacles, but the more times you go through, the more the path clears until it becomes a well-marked road, easy to follow and nearly impossible to forget. So what's the secret to retrieving information more easily? Turn any content into questions before you even start studying. Instead of passively reading about math functions, ask yourself, what is a function? How do I identify its domain and range? What are the most common types? Then try to answer without looking. This technique forces your brain to work actively, creating what neuroscientists call desirable difficulty. For example, if you're preparing for an exam, instead of rereading textbooks, solve as many practice questions as possible, even if you fail, especially when you fail. Every mistake is a chance to reinforce your memory. You can even redo assignments or past exams you got wrong. Review mistakes as soon as you get feedback, not a week later, because your brain retains the correction better when it's still fresh in working memory. And technology can help you. Use tools like ChatGPT to turn notes into questions. Create flashcards. Turn studying into a game. But here's the key. Don't expect to get every question right the first time. It should feel challenging. Research shows that being challenged actually strengthens learning. Once you master this technique, something amazing happens. You realize you can learn in 1 hour what used to take you 5. Not because you're studying faster, but because you're finally studying the way your brain was designed to learn. Now that you understand the power of active recall, it's time to learn when to apply it. And here's the truth. The solution is not to study more, but to study at the right times, reviewing information exactly when you're about to forget it. Think of learning like watering a lawn. You have 2 choices: water once a week for 90 minutes straight, flooding the grass, or water 3 times a week for 30 minutes each, keeping the soil consistently hydrated. Which will keep your lawn greener? Exactly, the second one. Learning works the same way. This is called spaced repetition. Based on Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve, it leverages the fact that a little forgetting between sessions actually makes retrieval stronger. The timing of review is crucial. Too early and it's useless, too late and you've forgotten everything. But there's one more critical detail: sleep. During sleep, especially during slow-wave sleep, something magical happens. Your brain transfers knowledge from the hippocampus, short-term storage, to long-term memory. Studying late while sleeping poorly doesn't just tire you out, it sabotages consolidation. So the second pillar is this: study with focus during the day, take strategic breaks, and sleep well to let your brain consolidate. That's how you align your study habits with biology instead of fighting against it. Now let's talk about the third pillar, interleaving. This goes against everything you were taught about focusing on one thing at a time. Interleaving means mixing different topics or skills in the same study session instead of obsessively drilling one. For example, say you're working on personal growth and want to improve in 3 areas: confidence, communication, and organization. Traditional advice says, spend a whole day only on confidence, the next day only on communication, and so on. But that's wrong. The brain learns better through variation. Focusing on one subject creates the illusion of mastery, but really, you're just getting used to repetition. Interleaving forces the brain to switch gears, think differently, and build richer neural connections. This makes you better at recognizing patterns and applying knowledge in new contexts. Practically, it means spending 20 minutes on one subject, 15 on another, then circling back. This creates stronger, more flexible knowledge. But the real magic happens when you combine all 3 pillars: active recall, spaced repetition, and interleaving. Used together, they create a synergistic effect that multiplies your learning power. Because let's be real, knowledge without application is just intellectual entertainment. The true transformation happens when you implement. So here's the system. Spend 10 minutes turning material into questions, use spaced repetition, review after 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 3 weeks. Use interleaving. Switch topics every 15 to 25 minutes. Track not just study time, but accuracy, recall, and application. And most importantly, start. Don't try to revolutionize everything at once. Pick one topic, apply the 3 pillars for a week, see your results. Sustainable change happens gradually. Remember, the difference between those who learn fast and those who struggle for hours isn't raw intelligence, it's strategy. While most keep using ineffective methods, a small group already uses techniques that actually work, and you can join them. Recovery practice forces your brain to actively recall, making memory stronger. Spaced repetition fights forgetting with the right timing. Interleaving trains flexibility and application. Combine these 3, and yes, you'll learn so fast and retain so much that it feels like you're breaking the rules. But now it's up to you. The knowledge is right in front of you. Will you keep falling for traditional traps, or step into evidence-based learning and finally join the group who play the game the right way? Tell me in the comments, what's the first pillar you're going to apply? If this video helped you, like it, subscribe, and share so we can create even more content like this.